spend as much money as he can possibly shovel out in his last year in office. But who put him up to it? Who passed this? Who raised the debt ceiling? Republicans and Democrats. Who was clamoring for it? On the right, they said, we want unlimited military spending. On the left, unlimited welfare spending. But the compromise is they got together and they raised both. The biggest threat to our national security is our debt. We could literally destroy our country. We have to decide and we have to think through how we're going to defend ourselves. People ask me, they say, what's the worst thing the president's done to the country? I say, how long do you have? But if I were to summarize it, I would say this. The worst thing the president's doing to the country is the collapse of the separation of powers.
Yes.
Our founding fathers, were incredibly bright and brilliant and had great foresight, and they said that we would have co-equal branches of government. In fact, Madison put it this way. Madison said, we will pit ambition against ambition. The ambition of Congress to gain power would be pitted against the president to gain power. And they would balance each other. There would be an equilibrium. But that's been failing. But it's not just this president. It's been happening for 100 years. But you know what we have now? We have a president that is 1,000-fold more powerful than Congress. They're supposed to be equal. All of these crazy regulations that President Obama is putting forward, we don't even get a vote. I was elected by an entire state, but we have made Congress so insignificant that we are of less value, importance, and power than the most minor of bureaucrats. That's a disgrace. It ought to end, and you should demand that Congress stand up to the president. How would we stand up to the president? Well, we have the House, we have the Senate. We have the power of the purse, and we're not exerting it one iota. You know what I say? I would let all of the spending expire and start over. Let it expire. In Washington, you know what they say? They say, oh, you can't do that. It takes 60 votes to defund Planned Parenthood. Hogwash. Planned Parenthood expires at the end of the fiscal year like all spending. It would no longer exist if we would let it expire. And see, this turns the tables. When spending expires, the other side has to get 60 votes in the Senate to restart it. But you have to have courage, and you have to have courageous politicians, courageous statesmen who will stand up and let it expire. It's not just Planned Parenthood, although that is incredibly offensive. It's also about waste in general. It never gets fixed. We lump all of these bills together into an omnibus. It's going to happen next week in Washington. They'll ram it all into a bill. They won't read it. It'll be thousands of pages long, and no one will read it. They will vote on it, and the debt goes on and on and on. But see, the waste is everywhere. Do you know that the Defense Department spent $43 million on a natural gas station in Afghanistan? Yeah. They don't even have cars in Afghanistan, all right? And the cars they do have don't run on natural gas. You think they've got enough extra money they're going to be going down to the mechanic and converting their car to natural gas? Mark my words, that gas station will rot, and within a year they'll be ripping out the copper tubing and selling it on the black market. This is a disgrace. If you want to defend your country, you must demand that we not waste money like that. Now you're going to pick one of us. There's only 55 of us running, so you got a lot of choices. You're going to pick one of us, but I'm going to tell you why we need to make sure it's not Hillary Clinton who wins the presidency. Yeah. In the 6 months leading up to the assassination of our ambassador, Hillary Clinton steadfastly and at every turn reduced the security. Team after team was let go. There was this idea that showing weapons was somehow offensive to the sensibilities of the freedom fighters in Libya. So they didn't want them to wear their boots, they didn't want them to show their guns, and they really just didn't want them there. So in the spring of that year, they asked for a plane in case there was an emergency. What did Hillary Clinton do? Turn down the plane. The same day or 2 days later, she approved an electrical charging station for Chevy Volts for the embassy in Vienna. No. So we got $100,000 to show how green we are to the socialists in Europe, but we don't have enough money for a plane to be flying around in Libya if we need it. That summer, she sent a 6-person special operations team home. In July, she sent another 6-person operations team, special forces team, home. In August, they sent 16-man security team home. Time after time, we were left defenseless. You know who was defending the embassy? You know who was defending Benghazi? The February 17th militia. You know what they were really doing? Taking pictures and scanning them for the terrorists so they could come and bomb us. All throughout that summer, though, you know what Hillary Clinton had enough money for? She didn't have enough money for security, but she had enough money to say, let's see, they spent $100,000 sending 3 comedians to India on the Make China Not War tour. They spent $700,000 on landscaping for the Brussels embassy. They spent $5 million, this is Hillary Clinton's State Department, spent $5 million on crystal barware and glassware for the embassies, but not a penny for security. So when she came before my committee, and I asked her this question. I said, Hillary Clinton, did you read the cables from the ambassador? Did you read the cables pleading for help, pleading for more security? Did you read the cables? And she acted all kind of put off, like it was just kind of beneath her and it was somebody else's job, and she said no. And you know my response to her? Hillary Clinton, by not defending the country, by not providing adequate security, by having significant dereliction of duty, Hillary Clinton should forever be precluded from holding office. Yeah. To win again, we have to believe in what we believe in. In fact, I think we need to be more for what we are for than we have ever been before. I don't think we should dilute one iota our beliefs or our principles. I think we should be the party of low taxation, of less regulation, of balanced budgets. Yeah. But we also need to be a party that not only energizes you, the base, but also does reach out to people. I've spent the last 2 years traveling the country and going places no Republican has gone in a decade or in a generation. I've been to the south side of Chicago, I've been to Ferguson, I've been to Baltimore, I've been to Philadelphia, I've been to Berkeley. And everywhere I go, I don't change the message, I still bring the message of limited government, but of a government that leaves us alone. But a government that is also a government that says to young people that you get another chance if you make a mistake. I think we need a message of hope. I think we need a message of opportunity. And when I think about that message, it has to energize the base, but it can't rely on just the base. We need new people in our party. We need young people in our party. We need people of color in our party. When I think of what we need, I think of the painter Robert Henry, who said to other painters, to exhort younger painters, he said, paint like a man coming over the hill singing. And I like the image of that. Paint like a man coming over the hill singing. When I think of what our party should be, we need to proclaim with passion, with the passion of Patrick Henry, we need to defend and proclaim our support and our incredible support for the Bill of Rights, for freedom, for limited government. And I think when we proclaim our message with the passion of Patrick Henry, but when we proclaim our message also with the hope and optimism and the image of a man coming over the hill singing, then we're going to be the dominant party. We're going to rock and roll to victory, and I want to be part of that. Thank you very much.
Senator Paul a million questions.